To make the story of Queen Jezebel more engaging, we can frame it as a cinematic struggle for the soul of a nation, focusing on the clash between a defiant foreign princess and a fearless desert prophet. The Princess of Storms and Smoketer story begins not in the dusty hills of Israel, but in the opulent coastal kingdoms of Phoenicia. Born into royalty as the daughter of Ethbal, king of the Sidonians, Jezebel was raised in a world of Mediterranean waves and the constant scent of incense rising to Baal and Asherah. In her homeland, temple prostitution was sacred, and Baal was the undisputed master of reign and survival. When she was married off to King Ahab around 874 BC, it was a cold political calculation to secure trade and military support. But Jezebel was no passive bride. She refused to assimilate. She brought her gods with her, turning the capital of Samaria into a landscape of foreign altars and Asherah poles. This wasn't just religious diversity. It was a violent campaign to erase the worship of Yahweh, leading her to hunt down and slaughter the Lord's prophets. The drought and the dew as a dark cloud of persecution fell over the land. A man named Elijah, whose very name means Yahweh is my God, stepped out of the shadows. He challenged the core of Jezebel's power by prophesying a devastating drought. For 3.5 years, the skies were iron, the crops failed, and the land withered, proving that Baal, the supposed storm god, was utterly powerless. The tension culminated in a spectacular supernatural showdown on Mount Carmel. Before the gathered nation, 450 prophets of Baal danced, screamed, and even slashed themselves until their blood flowed, begging their god for fire, but the sky remained silent. When it was Elijah's turn, he drenched his altar in water until it overflowed. With one prayer, fire fell from heaven, consuming the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench. In the aftermath, the people rose up and slaughtered the prophets of Baal. The ruthless queen and the vineyard while Ahab often wavered or sulked, Jezebel remained coldly decisive. When Ahab was denied a vineyard by a man named Naboth, who refused to sell his ancestral inheritance, Jezebel mocked her husband's weakness, asking, "Is this how you act as king?" She orchestrated a judicial murder, using Ahab's seal to frame Naboth for blasphemy. Naboth and his sons were stoned to death, allowing Ahab to seize the land. It was this act of corruption that sealed her fate. Elijah confronted the king in the stolen vineyard, prophesying that dogs would lick Ahab's blood and devour Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. The defiant anticlimax of her story is a masterclass in royal defiance. Years later, after Ahab's death and the rise of the commander Jehu, a bloody coup swept through the palace. Knowing her end was near, Jezebel did not hide or plead. She painted her eyes, arranged her hair, and stood at the window to face her executioner not as a victim, but as a queen. She insulted Jehu from above, comparing him to a common assassin, until her own attendants turned on her and threw her from the window. Her body crashed against the wall, and she was trampled by horses. When Jehu later ordered her burial out of respect for her royal status, his servants found only her skull, feet, and hands. The rest had been eaten by dogs, exactly as the prophet had warned years before.